Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 102 of the Division Z podcast. My name is Jason.
And I'm K Cosmic.
My friend, we've got some stuff to talk about today. The Archon has just released, well, it released a few days ago, but the Archon just released. We defeated Cortifex. We have the finale to Vanguard Zombies. Season 5 came out for Vanguard and Warzone, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit too, because Warzone actually had a pretty fun game mode, I think. And, yeah, but just Season 5 stuff to talk about. Starting things off with the Archon, of course. What an experience, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? It's a map. And it has
It's the most map ever.
It's the most map ever, right? And it has a story, and it has an Easter egg, and it has wonder weapons.
Right.
It's the most zombie map of all time.
Right. It's the most zombie map of all time. All jokes aside, all jokes aside, I mean, with the Archon, I think it's average, but the thing that makes it average is because, they straight up told us that, by the way, all of our development time went into the Easter egg and the boss fight, so we're just going to release this as a round-based Terra Maledicta, and the boss fight is the crown jewel of this, which... For the most part, it is. I mean, it's very clear that they put the most development time into that. They focused all their efforts on that, and I think the boss fight is fun. I think the Easter egg is fun. Maybe the trial of mindfulness with the memory step and the
is probably the worst part of it.
Probably not the greatest step sometimes on a high round.
I think the thing with that is the step itself. The first time you do it, it's fine, and the second time is okay, but the third time you have to do it. I just think it's too much. I think that, especially if you're playing like solo and like, I don't know. I feel like you always need to be prepared for it. Don't get me wrong; it's a challenging step, and like it's if you do it, then it's fun. But I mean, don't expect to be able to do it all first time. I definitely didn't.
True.
And like, there's just so much room for error as well for the symbols. One thing that's kind of cool is you know how you have to charge them up.
Yes.
At least it's not like you have to just step over them, because that would make it faster. But let's say you get the wrong one, right? If you go over the wrong one, it's like, okay, no, not this one.
Right.
One. So that's one thing I can
if you accidentally go over one of the runes
and then you notice
you screw it up.
Shit. Yeah.
I get what you mean there. I mean, I think the thing that I think people are the most upset about when it comes to the particular step, trial of mindfulness, would be the very ending of it, where you have to charge up the runes without killing any zombies. And that's probably the hardest part of it. And I mean, especially since Zabala will spawn in, and it's kind of hectic.
Yeah, I don't really like them either. I don't like the one where moving causes you damage.
Oh, those too. Yeah, the individual trials that you get, which I thought was a very apt comparison I saw people making the other day, that it was very similar to Gauntlet rounds, where it's almost like, hey guys, look, we have half Gauntlet in Vanguard Zombies, which... I mean, hey, maybe Gauntlet could have been fun in Vanguard Zombies. Who knows? But, I thought that was kind of an interesting comparison there. But, I mean, hey, the rest of the Easter egg, the Trial of Resilience, the Trial of Sacrifice, pretty fun steps, I would say. One of them gives you the Decimator Shield, which is pretty cool. The other one, you fight an HVT Sturmkrieger, which I never thought we would see, to be honest, because, the whole HVT concept was a thing back in Black Ops Cold War. And, these HVTs are like the commanders of the Dark Aether, so it's interesting to see a commander Sturmkrieger, basically. So I think that was kind of interesting to see that during the Easter egg step. And then, obviously, you complete the 3 trials and you go to the boss fight, which the boss fight, we were talking about this a little bit beforehand, where a lot of people were kind of underwhelmed about the boss fight. They're like, oh, Treyarch was hyping up this boss fight, and it's just not it. It's not a good boss fight, which I might be the contrarian here, but I think it's a good boss fight.
I think it's all right. It's just not bad. I think people were expecting Mephistopheles, right?
Right.
And that just wasn't what it was. And that's okay, because the game has...
It never was going to be, though. I think that's the thing we all have to keep in mind, that it would be nice to have something similar to that, of course, but I think, it never was going to be that. But for Vanguard Zombies, I think the boss fight, the Cortifex boss fight, is probably the best piece of content for the game itself because I think it's well done, personally.
I think it's definitely the cherry on top of Vanguard Zombies.
Yeah.
It's definitely an experience I'd recommend someone as a Zombies player to, go for it.
Just to try.
Yeah, just to try, obviously, right? Like anything for like I would recommend World War. I would recommend pretty much all Zombies content except Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta. I'd recommend everything else, even going back to Exo Zombies and stuff. But this is like, it's a good boss fight. It's just not like, I don't know what defines a good boss fight. Is it challenge? Is it how long you're in it for? Is it?
I think it's a combination of challenge, how long you're in it for, how much player skill it takes, and
I think as far as player skill, there's not a whole lot that's required. Like it's once you understand, because obviously it's broken up into 3 sections. So like once you kind of understand how you do it, it's not like as hard as maybe you think it would be, I guess.
Well, that's the case for every boss fight.
Yeah,
though.
Exactly. So like once you do a boss fight once, it's always going to be easier the next time.
Right.
So yeah, I think in terms of boss fights, it's definitely like a bad one. I think it's one of the coolest boss fights we've had.
Oh,
I think
for
in
sure.
terms of visuals and like aesthetics and overall like the atmosphere of the boss fight, I think it was a pretty cool one. And Cortifex, he looks scary-ish, like he it's not like he's like a what would you compare him to? Like the werewolf from Dead of the Night.
Right.
He's definitely like somewhat of a threat.
Oh, for sure. He's got very powerful attacks too that if you're not careful, you'll die like in one hit. So that's I think that's another sign of a interesting boss fight where the player has to use their dodging abilities and skills to get around, and there are certain tactics that you can utilize too. Like for example, when he does his giant red orb attack, the Decimator shield, actually, if you hold that out, the Decimator shield will literally just get rid of it if you walk into it with the red orb with the Decimator shield. So there's different strategies you can use there.
So that's why it's good to bring that in.
But you got to bring the Decimator into the boss fight. And by the way, speaking of the Decimator, they fixed it.
It's actually quite good,
like 90%. I don't think they fixed it fully because I still don't want to wait 30 seconds for the cooldown, but we'll take what we can get. We'll take what we can get with it. But it one-shots Zabala. It one-shots Stormkriegers now. It's really an actual wonder weapon now.
Yeah.
And it feels good to use. So
one thing I wish is the melee attack doesn't do infinite damage, does it? It's just
but so that's not the whole point of the shield, right? Like you don't use the Guard of Fafnir in Gorod Krovi just to hit zombies with it, right? It's the same thing with the Decimator.
So it's definitely cool, and they can get you out of a pinch. If you're stuck in a corner or something, you can definitely just like slam it down and you'll be fine. So no, I think they definitely improved on what it was.
For sure.
Something I would rather a Wonderwolf, if I'm being honest. But I mean,
hey, you get a Wonderwolf at the end of the Easter egg for the Archon, right? So
so
you got
that.
I
got something else I feel like we need to talk about is the actual Easter egg. It does reward you a lot more than a lot of other Easter eggs would. Like anything in Cold War and like let's say like Black Ops 4, for example. I mean, you get your level up on all your perks, so that brings it up a tier, doesn't it?
Right.
You get your Wonderwolf. It's kind of like Shido Numa in a way where you get a bunch of drops in that as well. So that's pretty cool. So it rewards you for your time in there and stuff.
It does give you good rewards, like you were saying, the perk level up, the Wonderwolf. It gives you, I think, 6 sacrificial hearts, which is that just sets you up for life, basically, if you need to finish upgrading at the Tome of Rituals or get some covenants and whatever, right? But I think where the Easter egg reward for the Archon is lacking is the lack of a cutscene. I think a huge part of Easter eggs in Call of Duty Zombies is the fact that you
see the story progresses.
Yeah, you do the Easter egg to see the story progress, and you do it so that you can see the cutscene, right? Oh, I got to see the cutscene. I got to see what happens next, and people are excited about that. But the one thing, and I think this is the thing that really puts a stain on the Archon, is the fact is that it has no Easter egg ending cutscene, and we don't get any more like story details about Cortifex. I mean, he's dead, right? But like, it's heavily alluded to from some Cold War info now that we get this information here. Okay, yeah, Cortifex is dead. His body's somewhere at the bottom of the Dark Aether. It's very heavily implied now in a particular piece of intel from Cold War that Zykov finds Cortifex's dead body, and
doesn't
he like eats him basically.
Eats it, yeah.
So you know, it's one of those things where it would have been cool to actually like see that. And it would have been cool to see a little bit of extra something, like what's going to happen with Nordicus and Bellacar and all the other Dark Aether spirits and entities that we were aligned with. You know, what's going to be happening with Kraft? Did they all just like, okay, bye, and they just disappear like randomly?
That's them. I don't think we'll ever hear from them again. Maybe except for the slightest reference here and there.
But I mean come on, man! You beat Cortifex, and it's this epic moment where it's like, wow, we just killed the Archon of the Dark Aether. And now nothing happens, and we don't get to see the connections. Yeah. Here's the thing about it too: is like you could just as easily not have played Vanguard Zombies to understand the Dark Aether storyline, though, and that's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off about it.
I think it'll add like the slightest layer of like, how do you even describe it? To be honest, so. I wouldn't class Vanguard, even though it is a prequel, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't really class it as a prequel because I feel like prequels can like add a lot more to like the lore and stuff. But this just really didn't add that much for me. And I think going into Cold War 2, Cold War 3, you know, whatever the next Treyarch game is, right? I don't think for the story at least, it's you wouldn't have needed to play it if you get what I mean. Kind of like I mean, I class it as like a non-Treyarch game, to be honest. I know it's a Treyarch game, and you know the stories are connected.
I mean, it's half a Treyarch game, right?
Yeah, half a Treyarch game, right? But like, in terms of like the actual stuff that happens in it, like you might as well like not play it, and like actually learn about it. Don't get me wrong. I think like all the field like your field upgrades in that, and the fact that like you know like there's like certain like you know what like demons, I don't know what you call them. Like in the Dark Aether, right? And like I think that's all cool in that, and we get to learn a little bit more about them, and you know we're getting to see Cortifex and learn about him's cool and stuff. But I mean, do you ever see Cortifex coming back?
Like, I mean, no, because he's dead. No, but
yeah, but like in some other shape or form, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe in like Intel, right? If they do the Intel system again for the sequel to Cold War, maybe there'll be some Intel being like, hey, there was this evil big demon man named Cortifex, and he was the Archon of the Dark Aether, and whoa. So like I don't know, like maybe something like that. But the whole thing is with Vanguard, the shining spot for Vanguard has always been the story, in my opinion. Like the world building, how they added more to the Dark Aether story, how they were able to establish more world building with demons and artifacts, and you know how this all kind of really started. And you know, okay, this is cool. This feels like kind of it felt like a prequel, despite the fact that, hey, you know, depending on what you think about the gameplay, you know, that's up for debate. I know the majority of people don't like it. But I think no matter what you can say about the gameplay, the story and the world building has always been there. But now you have this finale of a map that doesn't even feel like a finale because there's no ending cutscene.
Yeah. It feels like half the content's missing.
Of course. Well, that's the thing. Of course it is, because they put the majority of the time into the boss fight. And they didn't do anything else.
Okay. Would you have rathered the boss fight be half as good and for there to be a cutscene, or would you have taken the better boss fight?
I don't know. I mean, that's a hard question, actually, because I really do like the boss fight.
Let's say the cutscene's like mid. Like it's fine. It just kind of it's kind of like the cutscene that we got the end of Shinonuma. Like you know how it's not really a cutscene, but it is a cutscene.
I would definitely have preferred that for sure. I mean, the thing is, at least with Shinonuma's cutscene, and that opened up a plot thread that like I don't think was explored as deeply as I thought it was going to be in the Archon.
I mean, you know,
Syraxis being Cortifex's wife and everything like that. It's just kind of presented and then dropped.
You know what else?
You go, what?
Like that. That's kind of like the same with Chaos, though.
Oh, of course.
We get like we hear like that, and it's like, oh, maybe there'll be reference in the next time. Nope. So
That's another thing too. You mentioned chaos. When the Rashino Numo radio talked about Alistair Rhodes, now there are 0 chaos references in the Archon at all.
So it's like, do you think they just did it as like a one giveaway like gag, or do you think like
I don't know.
I mean, we'll find out later on, I guess, but like maybe that is just what it is. Maybe there's actually not like.
I hope they didn't do it for fan service, man, because you don't put a radio in a map, you don't put a piece of intel in a map, especially for modern Call of Duty, for it to not mean something. I mean, all the intel in Cold War, even if it wasn't the biggest plot points or the biggest whatever to understand the Cold War story, at least it was still canon, and it's still added to the Dark Aether story. I mean, all the other radios talk about, Kraft and Von List and what they're doing, and I don't know. It's just very confusing to me. I mean, the entirety of the Archon is basically the boss fight, right? The entirety of the Archon is basically the boss fight and the Easter egg. That's the map's purpose, because the map has no side Easter eggs at all.
No,
I mean,
except for you have the rampage. But that's not really a side. I mean, that's something that should just be in the game, right? Like I feel like that's one of the mechanics where you should just be able to activate it. Mm-hmm. No, like
I mean, no, I definitely get what you mean, but I mean, I kind of like the idea of activating it though. Like first, you have to go around and do a little quest to activate it. It gives you a little bit of map interaction. Like, okay, that's kind of cool, but
yeah,
I mean, the map is just the Easter egg and the boss fight. Which, hey, that's the thing that makes the map, or that's the one thing on the map that's like really good, or it's fun to play. Sure, okay, fine, that's great. But other than that, the map doesn't really do anything else.
I mean,
it's Terra Maledicta, but green. And it's Terra Maledicta, and it's a little bit tighter too. Like they closed off a couple
and
areas.
Wasn't there more? I mean, I didn't play Terra Maledicta too much, so. Aren't like the crystals in that a bit more grown from last time?
Oh yeah, there's definitely more crystals on the map that you can shoot.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit of aging here and there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I just think that like it's not bad, right? If it was the same standard of Durham Fang, I'd be very upset. But it's not. It's 10 times better than Durham Fang, right? But that's just because it's round based and there's like an Easter egg and a boss fight, right? So
yeah,
it's like the baseline of what a zombie map should have, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's sad that it's like the last zombie map that we're gonna have for 2 years potentially. But yeah, I mean, I gotta say, right? Well, actually, before I do that point, I just want to point one thing. When Cortifex is really small, he looks so goofy. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that. But he's like a little. How he's like tiny for little parts of it, and when he falls and hits the ground and stuff, I think it looks kind of stupid. But that's just me, right? But back to thingy. I'm actually excited for the 2-year break. Like I am genuinely happy that there's a break now. I'm excited that we can go back and just enjoy the content that's there. We can play Dead of the Night. We can play Alpha Omega. We can go back and play these great maps. And we can actually, I don't know, just take a breather, because I think we need it, honestly. Like, after Vanguard, I definitely think we just need to, go back and, just,
That's the thing, man.
Because it was always... You don't know.
I don't know anymore. Like the thing is, where with everything that's been happening with zombies, and also the community is in a really weird spot, because it is, and we'll leave it at that. But the 2-year break could be a good thing, I think, for appreciating the content. And then when Treyarch comes back in 2024, hopefully they come out of the gate swinging. And they just have something good, and they have the true successor to Black Ops Cold War in 2024, and because this could go one of two ways. This could go the first way, like I just said, it becomes a really good year. So many people are super excited for it, and then yay, cool, zombies is back. Let's play zombies, yeah. And then the community kind of comes back for a month or two, and then it ultimately goes through the same cycle it'll go through, or it's like dead on arrival, because people are so disgruntled with how Vanguard Zombies was treated, and people were just super tired of it all, that people will just feel very disenfranchised and they won't give it a chance. Like, I don't know, I just see two scenarios happening in my head that I hope the first one that I said is true, that people will be excited about it. But I don't really know, and it's really not Treyarch's fault entirely for what happened with Vanguard Zombies. I mean, we all know the story.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the Archon too, like the Archon isn't even necessarily their fault either, because they have they had to basically remake round base from the ground up for Vanguard, all on a whim, all super quickly, because nobody liked the objective based maps. And I mean, here's the thing: the objective based maps are definitely not good. They definitely leave a lot to be desired.
It's stellar content.
Bro.
When they said they're bringing round base back, I got really upset.
Bro. And then they had to scramble to make that, and they got Shino Numa back, which was pretty cool. I think they did a great job with Shino Numa and Vanguard. And then for the Archon, you kind of have to tell the community, be careful what you wish for, right? Because I remember myself and other people were saying Terra Maledicta would be so much better round based.
And that's what you got.
And here it is. And you can't blame them for it either, It's not, here's the thing, people are like so mad at them for doing that. I'm not, because it makes sense. Is it preferable? No, I definitely would like to have a completely original map, and I would have liked to have something else, of course. Who wouldn't want that? But you kind of have to put yourself in the developer's shoes here and go, this was literally not on the plan at all to do this. Yeah. And so why not just have a map you already have in the game and remake that? Is it an excuse for them to reuse a map? I mean, I'll leave that up to you to decide that. I mean, you can make the argument either way, that it's not an excuse for them to reuse a map, or it is an excuse for them to reuse the map. But looking at it strictly from their point of view, why wouldn't they do that? If this is Vanguard Zombies is basically their sandbox at this point to experiment with things on this new engine and to find out how to make zombies on this newer engine that they haven't been working on. So yeah, I mean, you kind of expect it. But at the same time, it could have been much better. With the ending cutscene, could have been an actual cutscene. There could have been more side Easter eggs. There could have been more things to it. And I think because of that, I think we can say that Shino Numa is probably the best map in Vanguard, just because it feels more complete. It has side quests, it has a cutscene, it has fun quests and everything. The Archon is, the same map as Terra Maledicta, but it's round based. And the only thing really has going for it. So it is better. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It is better than Terra Maledicta. But Shino Numa just feels more complete because it has that ending cutscene. I mean, it might sound really petty, and it might sound like a non-issue, but at the same time, it kind of is. Because this is supposed to be the finale to the game. This is supposed to be the big triumphant, huzzah, we beat Cortifex, and let's see how we save the day, and let's see what happens in the cutscene. And then, let's just say off the top of my head, oh yay, we just killed the Forsaken. We just killed Cortifex. And then, what's this? We see a portal open up, and we see Zykov come in. And it's like, oh no, Zykov. And then Zykov shows up, and he's like, oh shit, these guys are my enemies, and they're in the Dark Aether already. And then he shoots all of our operators, and then he's going through, and he sees Cortifex's dead body, and he's like, wow, I could amass so much power. And then he eats him or something. I don't know, man. Or then
I feel like the word absorb would be nicer for that. Just eating his corpse, I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be a bit more fitting, if he just touched it and then or touched Cortifex and he just disappeared and red energy just went inside him. I don't know.
The thing is too, you think about this, right? There could be this huge plot point for Cold War Year 2, or goddamn, Cold War 2. More Year 2 content, which by the way, we are getting more Cold War bundles.
Let's go.
But for the sequel to Cold War, I think there could be a very interesting plot point if they want to expand upon the concept of the construct and what being an Archon actually is. Because think about it this way. Cortifex was the Archon of the Dark Aether, and then he's dead. So who becomes the next Archon, right? Does the construct get to decide who the next Archon is, or he who defeats an Archon becomes the Archon. So are our characters Archons of the Dark Aether? Maybe. We don't know. Or since the Construct saw that Cortifex wasn't worthy because we killed Cortifex, the Construct has looked for a new person to carry the torch. Was that Zykov? Was that Zykov? And why was that the reason why he was able to amass so much power so quickly in the Dark Aether? Because he became the next Archon. And that's what made him become the Forsaken and kill all the other Dark Aether entities because, he didn't want anything standing in his way. Then this brings up another question because we defeat the Forsaken in Black Ops Cold War. Oh, voice crack. Holy shit. Black Ops Cold War. Holy shit. Black Ops Cold War. Yes, Black Ops Cold War. It's the, we killed the Forsaken. This is my normal voice. What are you guys talking about?
This is what you normally sound like.
This is what I normally sound like. No voice cracks here. So Samantha Maxis basically helps banish the Forsaken into the Dark Aether again. So the Forsaken isn't necessarily like dead. So
just back in the Dark Aether.
He's back in the Dark Aether with Samantha Maxis. Will the Construct make Zykov not worthy because Maxis defeated him? And then Maxis becomes the Archon? Or is this Richtofen's grand scheme the entire time? Richtofen wants to capture Zykov, capture the Forsaken, and become the Archon of the Dark Aether, and Richtofen becomes the megalomaniac psychopath again that we had in his Ultimus form, and he becomes a fucking madman once again. So there's so many things that could be explored here where you have such raw primordial power with the Construct as well. And I think the idea of a Construct is very crucial to something like this too, because looking at intel and looking at what this thing is supposed to be, this thing predates time. This thing predates the Dark Aether itself. This is the catalyst of life, basically. And so, you're basically becoming God at that point. And it's kind of an interesting concept for a story like this. And so are Richtofen's motives that he wants to become God, basically? What is Project Janus? And I know there's mythological explanations as to what Janus actually is. There's backstory there. I don't actually remember it. And it's actually driving me kind of crazy that I don't remember it because it would be perfect to bring up here. Because Janus has to do with mythological creatures and mythological gods and things like that. So, I don't know. There's just so many opportunities for them to explore deeper with the sequel to Cold War Part 2 or whatever they're going to call it. That I think, I don't know. It could be very interesting. And I'm really sad that they didn't expand upon any of that at the end of the Archon. So, yeah, I guess we'll have to find out in 2 years.
In 2 years. God damn it. I mean, here's the thing, right? You have custom zombies. That'll keep you going.
Yeah, but man,
I think what I'm gonna do.
I like the Dark Aether storyline though.
If I'm being honest, guys, I think I'm gonna become a Fortnite YouTuber. I'm gonna play Fortnite,
right?
And I'm gonna upload my dubs every day, and I'm gonna post videos of my skins.
Oh yeah,
and I'll get a few 100,000 views on them videos of me using new skins, and then zombies will come. I think for zombies in 2 years' time, I think there's a few things it needs to bring it so it could be like the best game possibly it could be.
Yeah.
And I know this is like, oh, we're just saying that, but like I think it needs to be okay. I think it needs to actually be free to play. If I'm being completely honest, I think for zombies to be at its peak and like have a giant community again, not that it doesn't have a big community now, but I think for it to be like,
well, I mean, our community is definitely decreased in size.
Yeah, obviously, yes. But for it to be bigger, it needs to be free to play. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, that first of all, actually, standalone zombie game needs to be free to play. It needs to have all previous maps, right? As well, but have it so it's like categorized in an easy system. Have it so it's like thinking in like an easy enough system to keep them like the two stories separate, right? And then it needs to have a custom zombies mode on there somewhere. It needs to have it so you can make your own maps in game, not as like high tech as like like a custom Black Ops 3 map.
So basically, Halo Forge mode.
Yeah, right. Something like that.
Okay.
For zombies, right? I feel like it needs something like that. And yeah, then just needs good content. And then yeah,
I
and then
agree.
I think actually what it needs as well, it needs some sort of competitive scene and some sort of rank system. And here's the I know zombies is so hard. Like, what's competitive? Like, what is competitive, right? Getting more rounds. I don't know, grief game mode. You name it, right? I don't. It's quite
I
hard to
think
like.
I can actually, I think I can answer that question for you because I think when it comes to the competitive part of Call of Duty, I think the thing that turns a lot of people off about it and the reason why like people haven't really gone all in necessarily, and when I say people, I mean, we don't have like the big leagues for Call of Duty Zombies. We have ZWC, right? But ZWC is such a, concentrated thing that, it's like zombies community specific. So what I'm referring to is, things that are outside of ZWC, things like Obey Undead, things like other people who maybe have tried in the past for zombies esports, where I think a lot of people don't want to sit and watch a round 100 for hours on end for competitive
Yeah,
zombies.
because
Like,
that's
because the
not
Call of Duty
entertaining.
League, the Call of Duty League, it's almost like you have all these hardpoint matches and search and destroy matches. They don't last hours.
No.
In an hour, you can go through an entire series. So I think when it comes to competitive zombies, it's going to need grief. It's going to need rush. It's going to need gauntlet mode. It's going to need something there to test your skills. And even if that's not there, okay, then maybe speed runs, Easter egg speed runs, round speed runs, but like round speed runs within reason, right? People aren't going to sit and watch one singular zombies game for 6 hours for a round 100 speed run because that's just
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
If you want Activision or the Call of Duty League to take notice of it, that's just not going to happen because no one wants to sit for 6 hours and watch that. Unfortunately, getting to round 100 does take a lot of skill. I agree, and it's a very hard thing to do, and I think it's cool to see those people do it. But if we're talking about what's gonna like pull in the views, if we want this like scene, basically, if you want this super competitive scene, it's gonna have to have things that have higher stakes to it than just get to round 100. The higher stakes would be who has the fastest time. Oh, gauntlet mode. Who's able to complete the challenge the best, and who can complete the challenge quicker? And grief mode. Oh, the enemy team, and they're going through, and how can we screw over the other team? So that adds like more stakes to it rather than just like, oh, yeah, I get to round 100. So it would have to be high octane, a lot of action, a lot of something going on, So as much as I love round 100s, I love the people who go for round 100s and like 255s on Black Ops 3 still. Y'all are fucking insane. Y'all are great. But when it comes to something like that, I think that's just what's going to happen is, something more actually competitive.
Yeah. I think
people going up against each other is like the best thing for competition. I mean, since the beginning of time, gladiators, people killing each other, zombies, grief mode, people killing each other.
Yeah. Do you think competitive zombies, right? Do you think it should have an aspect where it can be player versus zombies, like as in I could shoot you?
Yes.
Or okay, so you don't think it should be like just like two teams against just the zombies? You think it should be like
I think what needs to happen here is there are certain instances where I think you can like damage a player because obviously right off the rip, right, round 1, everyone spawns in, they shoot each other with pistols and everyone dies, right? It's like, okay, no, that's not gonna happen. So I almost have a feeling that there should be these kind of kill periods where every like 5 rounds or so it becomes like, oh, earn extra points if you can kill the enemy team, and have a higher time to kill. Because
what about here, right? So I'm like, it's cool because this could be made in like separate sections, right? Where it's like capped at like round 5, round 10, round 20, right? And that is you play a traditional game of zombies, 2 teams on one map, right? You play your traditional game of zombies, you get points, you get weapons in that, right? And then once it hits like the round that you've set it to, like let's say round 10, for example, absolute chaos happens, and then you can kill other players. So you can kill other
Yeah.
players at that point, but beforehand you can't. So it's
Yeah.
just you gathering points and stuff, and building your character and stuff as well,
Yeah.
and getting perks and all that. And then once it gets to that thing, you can fight other people, and then you can also fight the zombies. I mean, the thing
Yeah.
is, at that point, it's
I
like,
like
do
that.
you think like having zombies going absolute like goblin mode would be necessary, or do you think just like make it that player versus player, and the zombies are just kind of there?
I
If you get what I
mean,
mean, you like
considering
round 100 zombies.
if
You know
we're
what I
using
mean? Like,
if we're using the round 10 analogy, right? They should be
yeah,
round 10 zombies. You know,
yeah,
it is a game of zombies, but it's grief because you're going up against another team. But the kill rounds with, you know, trying to kill the other team, yeah, I mean the zombies should just, you know, happen to be there. Maybe spawn in a special enemy to into the mix to, you know, throw everyone off, like the Panzer or the Mangler or the Margwa or something like that.
hmm
But I think the biggest thing that needs to be said about it, if in this theoretical game mode, is the time to kill has to be high. You know, I mean, when you look at something like the Weasel boss fight on Mob of the Dead, right? The Weasel boss fight, you know, it's pretty good, I think. I think it's a pretty good little, hey, it's a fun way to end the Easter egg. Have everyone, you know, kill the Weasel.
yeah,
And it's almost like that it's that player versus player aspect of it that, you know, we're talking about. And it's almost like if you have the Blundergat, you have a Ray Gun Mark II, and you're like super accurate, you can kill Weasel with no problem. Or Weasel can kill you with no problem. So certain wonder weapons will be really good against enemy players, but then the normal guns I think should have a higher time to kill
yeah,
and make it like, oh, the enemy team is the mini boss. You know, the enemy team is the objective of this game, you know. And let's say for example, you get through the rounds and there's some sort of point scoring system for this too. And whenever these kill rounds happen, it's if your team eliminates the enemy team, then you get a point, right?
mm,
And then that makes you have the advantage. And then the enemy team spawns back in the next round, but they don't spawn back in with their perks or their guns or anything like that because, you know, they died.
yeah,
So I think this kind of hybrid game mode would be very interesting for competitive. Make it honestly throw everything in the mix here. Actually, make it Grief and Gauntlet at the same time with a little bit of elements of Rush. Because think
yeah,
about it this way: this competitive game mode could be so fucking cool because you could have the first 1 to 5 rounds be challenges, right? And
hmm
the team who beats the challenge for the round gets a point. And so you get to round 5, and let's say the score is, you know, team 1 has 3 points, team 2 has 2 points. Then rounds 6 through 10 or something like that, it's like rush mode where you have different rushes to defend, and it's hard point basically on zombies.
yeah,
And you defend the hard point, and the team who's on the hard point the most, you know, they slowly gain the extra points, or let me rephrase that. The team who has the most time at the end of a hard point in the round gets the point for the round.
hmm
And then you get to round 10, and then round 10's like that kill round, right? And I don't know, like something like that, right? Something
I
like that could be like really, really just throw everything into the mix and have this like hybrid game mode where
mhm.
you have to be on your toes and you have to be skilled in like everything zombies related to be a good zombies player professionally.
Yeah.
And it will just make for some really interesting moments.
Now I have an idea for a mode, right? And I think it actually be quite fun. And it's a 5-player mode. So the objective is to, like, I don't know, around, and it's good because this could be something that's been done, like you could do on every map, and it wouldn't take too much effort to set up, right? It's kind of like Dead by Daylight in a way. So you have your 4 players, and they have to do 4 rituals around the map, right? And each ritual you activate will have a challenge, like, headshots only, take no damage, things like that, right? So you got
Yeah.
your 4 players that are just playing standard zombies, but then there is another player that will play a mini boss, for example, Brutus, Margwa, whatever, right? And they spawn in and take control of that enemy, and they have more abilities than they would normally have in a game of zombies. So let's say Brutus, right? His slam ability.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's a lot more effective for something, right? Like that. That's the like that. Like they become so they're a bit more of a threat, right? Than your
Okay.
typical, like maybe like a bit more powerful than a Margwa, and yeah, right. and their whole thing is they have to stop you from completing the objectives and stuff. But then they take you to like a certain place, let's say on the map, where another player has to come and unlock you, has to spend like a few points to unlock you and get you back. And the more players that finish off the game with each other, the more score you get. And then I don't know.
Okay.
And the like person playing Brutus, for example, he would win by getting everyone in that part of the map, like locked up in chains, for example, like chains and all that, for example. I think that'd be pretty. I think that'd be a fun game mode. I think that
does sound fun. I mean, there's so many things we can theorize about, man. I mean, competitive zombies could. Here's the thing. Hot take. Competitive zombies works on paper, but in execution, we have no fucking idea. We have no fucking idea, right? We can talk about everything hypothetically. We can prop it up, and we can say it's all great. And I do genuinely think that, you know, everything that we've talked about today sounds really fun. I think it could be very good for a competitive league. It could be good for competitive zombies. But in practice, what kind of community reaction would it get? Because the zombies community is very touchy.
I think
so.
The thing is like especially after Vanguard zombies and trying to do objective-based stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they shouldn't think like this, but like Activision's probably going to be like, okay, never do anything else other than round-based.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We have it clear now. Nothing else, no innovation. Just do classic maps and add rounds and perks. And don't change the perks again. Don't do that.
There's a good chance. There's a great fucking chance that actually happens, man.
And there'll be no innovation. The thing is, right, innovation is fine, but it kind of I feel like with zombies, you have to build it on top of what's there. So have the round-based stuff there and then add stuff as well to that, like in other game modes and stuff. Like, and if it flops, it flops. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, here's how objective-based probably should have been. Round-based. But you have the option to do an objective in the round instead of the actual round.
Well, boom. There you go.
That literally solves the whole problem. Where it's like, oh, you know, round-based is one of those things where, like they have in Vanguard Zombies, you earn a sacrificial heart every 3 rounds. And then you can go and spend that, right? But if you don't want to wait every 3 rounds, go do an objective. And then you get the sacrificial heart after every objective. So
the thing is, that actually
so you have like
so
the choice. Well. Right?
Because you could do your lower rounds, right? And you could just speed through them as normal, like round-based stuff, right?
Right.
And then let's say you get to round 50, where rounds start dragging on a little. You do an objective, takes you like 1/10 of the time, and then you move on to the next round.
There you go.
Right? And if you want to play standard survival, you can. It's just a thing that's been implemented.
Yeah. It's the same thing as Exfil. It's the same thing as the Rampage Inducer. It's the same thing as Gobblegum. It's the same thing as Elixirs. It's in the fucking game for you. You have the option to do it, but you don't have to do it. I think that solves the whole problem right there of objective-based versus round-based. Just put them together. You go through the rounds normally, and you have this Dark Aether portal spinning around or whatever, right? And every round, the objective changes. So that you spawn in on round 1. Oh, look, it's a transmit objective. And then it's like, okay, let me just go through round 1 normally. I don't like that one. And then you go through the round 2 comes around, and then, oh, look, round 2. I like the purge objective. I'm going to do that one. And then I do an objective on round 2. That literally fixes the whole problem, I think.
There you go. Yeah, it does. Honestly, it does. That should have been the way. That should have been the way it was done, but no.
I mean, hey.
I don't know about you, but did you go back? I went back and watched the original Vanguard trailer, right? For zombies.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks so fucking cool. Like, it looks so good. But then, like, you get the actual gameplay. And, like, so many of the shots in them, and the zombies look cool, and Cortex looks really, like, badass coming out that portal.
Right.
Like you know, fading in. And it just makes me think, like, wow, such clickbait.
What could have been, though?
Yeah, what could have been? And it's sad, right? And I know people are going to be like, well, I don't know. Like, people are like, well, we're never going to get anything like this again because you hated it. And it's like, but, I mean, if the general community hated it, then what does that tell you? You know, probably wasn't that great. You know what I mean?
Because there are things that are just objectively bad about it. You know, I mean, you can talk about your subjective opinion all day, but there are things about this that are objectively bad about it that really put a damper on it. And it's just sad. It's just sad to see that this game had so much potential and then just nothing really exploded up into popularity other than the Alistair Rhodes radio. I mean, Bro, when that radio was first found on Shinonuma for Vanguard Zombies, so many fucking people. So many
Yeah.
fucking people were just going crazy about it. And it's like, that was like the most united the community was during Vanguard when everyone found out that Chaos might actually just be canon in the Dark Aether storyline.
Yeah, everyone got excited. Everyone was like, "Oh, like this can't be real. Oh my god." I think I told you. I told someone and
Yeah,
they
you
didn't
told
believe
me.
me. And like did you have doubt? Did you doubt me at first? I can't
I
remember what
I
exactly happened.
did. I did. I was like, I don't know about that.
That's
I
like a
don't know,
troll.
man. And
That's kind
then
of
and
like
then I
a
saw
like
Greg on Twitter and I was like, wait, what?
because I thought it was a troll
uh,
at first. I thought someone like edited in the audio, like, and no, it's real. And it's like, well, that's the only piece of like chaos connection we have to the Dark Aether and Aether storyline. So that's cool. Yay!
yeah. Another missed opportunity. But I
Yes.
mean, hey, season 5 for Vanguard and Warzone didn't just have the Archon. Obviously, you know, we talk mainly about zombie stuff, but I think it's worth mentioning the Warzone update that happened as well. Operation Last Call for the Last Stand event in Warzone. And I gotta say, man, it's fun to play. I think they made a really fun game mode for Warzone. Beanox, good on you guys. Um, and for those of you who haven't played it yet or don't know, basically the game mode revolves around the whole concept of heroes versus villains. And you go into the game and you can win the game in one of two ways. You can win the game as a hero or you can win the game as a villain. And every team, it's not like 50 villains and 50 heroes and the two sides clashing. That's your squad all by itself gets to decide if they're good guys or bad guys. And the bad guys, the villains, win the game by blowing up 6 bomb sites. And the good guys win the game by defusing 6 bomb sites. And you get like a special cutscene for, haha, we're the villains and we blew up Caldera. Or you're the heroes and yay, we saved Caldera. Cool, guys. And it's kind of a fun game mode. Actually, it's Search and Destroy meets Battle Royale with Resurgence
And
rule
it works
sets.
well.
And it works well. You also have the tokens, the hero and villain tokens you can collect that will help you earn rewards outside of the game. And 2 blueprints for both of them are MP40 blueprints for the heroes and the villains, which I kind of wish the villains had one weapon and the heroes had another weapon instead of having the same MP40 blueprint, but one's red and one's blue.
Yeah.
I would have liked that, but the event itself is still pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, this is probably the most fun I've had with Caldera in a long time, to be honest, because you know me. I'm not really a fan of Caldera. It's just not as fun to me as Rebirth Island or Fortune's Keep. And I don't know. I'm actually having fun with Caldera. Oh, and plus the volcano at peak is erupting. So you got that. And the map actually looks kind of cool when you have the ash in the sky and all that stuff.
I mean, a good end to Warzone as we know it, because that's gonna be like the conclusion to Warzone 1.
Which is kind of weird to think about, actually. Warzone 2 right around the corner.
And that's kind of scary, man. It just shows how time can go by so fast. And like again, everyone thought Warzone was gonna be around like this one around forever, and then it's like no, because of the guns and that, and obviously
they literally cannot because it's becoming more and more unstable.
Yeah, it's like nah, we have to let this one go.
Yeah.
So, and I think from now on as well, like I don't even know, man. Like, will each development team make their own battle royale map, or do you think like what they'll do is do you think they'll have like their own like the Modern Warfare weapons, but then each team will make like new maps for it, and then that's it, and not.
I think that's more plausible. I think that would be because similar to how basically Rebirth Island is Treyarch's Warzone map.
Yeah.
I think that's more plausible because I think what's going to happen with this is with Modern Warfare 2, I think they're going to have a Modern Warfare 2 year 2 to supplement Warzone 2 in the long run. Because the thing is, they talk about how they made a mistake with Vanguard, Warzone and Vanguard and Black Ops Cold War with all the integrations and all the weapons and all the different assets, and everything's just not cohesive. Everything is not just stable, really. And so I think what they'll have to do is just continually update Modern Warfare 2 and add weapons to Modern Warfare 2. Now, this is also assuming that Warzone 2 is going to be attached to Modern Warfare 2, which a lot of people out there are hoping that it's not, myself included, because when you download Warzone 1 right now, you're also downloading Modern Warfare, but you can't fucking play it if you didn't buy Modern Warfare. So I hope Warzone just becomes its own separate thing from Modern Warfare 2, but it has the Modern Warfare 2 weaponry. Which would also it would also beg the question that, well, why would they just want to just have Modern Warfare 2 weapons for 2-3 years, however long Warzone 2 is going to last? And I think the answer to that would be because Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 would be working out with the same mechanics and the same engine and the same kind of weapon systems, that it would be more beneficial for them just to add the modern weaponry and just have only that.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to have World War II weaponry, let's say, for example, if they wanted to do another attempt at a World War II game in the future, then those weapons would have to also be added into Modern Warfare 2. And it would have to be on that same system and not the same Vanguard system porting over those weapons. So, I don't know. It's a very it's a very hypothetical question to ask right now because we know literally nothing about Warzone 2 right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. But Warzone 2 sounds weird.
Warzone 2.
Sounds weird to say. But Last Stand is the last stand for Warzone 1 right now.
I mean, what's your favorite Warzone 1, I guess, memory? Like,
damn.
For me, I'll go first. For me, it has to be one time I was playing Warzone and I got killed and it put me into the gulag and it actually respawned me back in to where I got killed, right? And the players that killed me were still there, but I had my fists out and it's almost like I was in the gulag because they couldn't shoot me. So what do? I go up and punch them. There's nothing they can do. They see me and they can't kill me because the game's glitched out and it's like, okay, you're in the gulag, but I'm actually not in the gulag. So I run up to them and I just start smacking them. Smack, smack, smack. Kill one of them. The other one starts running away.
No.
Other one starts running away. I'm like, no. Come back here. I get him out as well. So they would have thought I was like hacking 100%. I wasn't. It was a Warzone glitch.
Man.
But funniest shit I've ever seen.
That's funny.
Like
that's pretty funny.
But you know, if you were in them okay, if you're in my shoes, what would you do? Would you back out or would you go kill them? I don't know.
I'd probably back out at that point if you're unkillable.
I would go on a rampage and kill. But then I also understand.
I thought you were talking about if I was the other player, I would have backed out.
If you were me.
If you were me. That sounds like a fun video, actually.
Right? So like, yeah, right. But I can understand the frustration of the other players. And then you know how like Warzone has that thing where it has like the proximity chat for like 2 seconds, you can hear what they're saying, and it's like a lot of people here, so like, what the fuck? Like the guy literally screamed on the mic, and it was the funniest. Like my ears hurt after it. And then best memory for me personally. What about you? Do you have any fond memories?
Man, I mean, Warzone, it's had a lot of fun events over the last few years. So I don't think I have like one particular favorite memory of it.
Just in general, Warzone was like was a fun experience for you for the most part.
It had its ups and downs, let's say.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the zombies events for both Verdansk and on Rebirth, the one that we just had recently. I really enjoyed those. The current game mode right now that we're playing, Last Stand, was really fun. Shit, I don't know. I mean, Plunder is always a fun game mode too. So, I mean, some of my favorite times are just hanging out, just relaxing, playing Plunder as well.
Yeah, you like your Plunder, don't you?
I do. You know, it's a very underrated game mode of Warzone. I think it needs more objective-based game modes, Warzone, like Operation Last Stand, and, you know, it needs more of that. So,
what was that defense one? Remember
Payload, right? Where
Payload,
you defend the truck. That was a good game mode too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of annoying sometimes because there were snipers everywhere, and you know everyone's a MLG sniper. But yeah, I mean, Warzone had a lot of good moments to it. I'll tell you one thing though: the things that I don't want to remember are the constant crashes and the freezing and everything
hackers
like that.
And
the hackers and the glitching, and you know that's one thing I don't want to remember.
But I hope,
you know, I'll always remember, I think, the wins the most.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think when it comes to winning, I mean, it might sound very basic, but when it comes to, like, winning a Warzone game, because I'm not like the greatest Warzone player in the world. I'm definitely better. I'm definitely better than I used to be at Warzone and multiplayer than I was even from a year ago.
Mm.
But I think there's always just this charm to it where you hop in on stream with a bunch of other content creators and you just fuck around and have fun, and then you get that win. It just feels so satisfying. Like the other day, I in one stream we got 3 wins on Fortune's Keep, and that was some of the best Warzone I've ever played. And that I will remember those games forever because of how crazy those games of Fortune's Keep were.
Mm.
And like the Rebirth Island wins and clutches, and things like that. Playing with DK on some of the Warzone events too. Just getting in that gaming time with him, and just bonding with other content creators too over Warzone, and meeting content creators too over Warzone. Like playing some games with Lego. Lego and I have interacted a little bit on Twitter and on YouTube and things like that. Love to get him on the show one day.
Oh yeah,
he's a chill guy. Just like cool. Meeting new people and playing with a bunch of different content creators. It's just really fun. It's really fun. So those are other memories that I'll look back on fondly.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I mean, yeah. Again, Warzone, despite the ups and downs, the friends what we made all along the way.
Yeah, the real Warzone is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah,
we love it. Family. Dominic
family.
Toretto. Dude, that should be the next crossover.
Well, Fast and Furious.
Yeah, dude, Dominic Toretto. Every time you kill an enemy, he just says, family.
Family. Nothing's more important than family, except fast cars.
Dude, and then you got his...
And being attractive. And rich.
I mean, hey.
That is family. That is family. That is family.
Bro. The thing is, though, I can 100% see that happening for Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, yeah, like a Fast and Furious crossover. 100%. Yeah. 100%. Definitely.
We're going to call it right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna come back to this episode of the Division Z podcast when it happens for like season 4.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious, because it's season 4. Season Fast and Furious. That's the name of the season.
You can buy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a skin.
True.
He's absolutely useless because he's massive, so he's absolutely useless.
Dude, you get Dominic Toretto and Calvin Hobbs.
John Cena was in one of the movies. You get John Cena in, make him so he's invisible. That'd be pretty cool.
No more glitched invisible Warzone skins. Bro.
You can't see me. God damn it.
Man, I don't know, but hey, interesting is I think the word I would use to describe the last week of Call of Duty. The Archon, very interesting.
Probably like a C tier zombie map. Maybe, maybe D tier. D tier is probably more appropriate, actually. Yeah, D tier.
The Easter egg boss fight is fun. The Easter egg itself is fun.
The map itself is very.
The map itself is whatever,
It's listen. Has more content than Town Zombies. So there you go.
Fair. That's fair.
More content than Town Zombies.
We talked about competitive zombies today and how that would theoretically work. And then we talked a little bit about Warzone there at the end and our favorite Warzone memories. Man, even though we might need this 2-year break so everyone can like reset and calm their shit down, I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be a little sad actually.
Yeah, no,
waiting for 2 years.
Like, and I think the community will definitely change a lot in them 2 years as well. So. I mean, for going forward to content, the way I'm doing it is I'm going to make well-edited, longer videos talking about zombies and stuff. And that's going to be what I do to try and fill in my time. And play other games, because it's important to have some variety in your life. So you can't just play zombies constantly and be happy, I imagine. So that's why you need to play Warzone. That's why you need to play a bit of multiplayer. I mean, for me, I play like... The one thing I play, and it makes me appreciate zombies so much more, is Valorant, because I'm so bad at the game that it makes me want to go back and play zombies. So I'm like, okay, at least I'm good at zombies. at least I can run in a circle.
I mean, hey, I've been playing, I've been doing a bunch of different things recently. I'm still playing Lego Star Wars on stream.
Are you?
I'm still trying to 100% that game and get all the collectibles. So, I'm
Yeah.
still playing Lego Star Wars on stream. I haven't made a Lego Star Wars video in a long time though because I really just wanted to make the mini kit videos because mini kits are fucking cool and it's like a staple of the Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah.
What else? Warzone multiplayer, been doing that as well. Madden as well. I actually bought the new Madden game. Football, American football. Of course,
American
the
football,
the, the
yeah.
the real football. I just
No,
triggered half
not
the world's population.
not the British football.
Not European soccer.
Not European soccer. not European soccer.
Not European soccer.
God,
Rugged American football there. Yeah, I've been having fun with Madden too. The football season's right around the corner. The preseason just ended for football, and so week 1 of the NFL season is going to be happening in a couple weeks. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the Packers can pull something together. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Packers fan, so it's been fun playing franchise mode on Madden, building a Packers franchise live on stream, and I don't know. It's just something else to do, right? Something to have fun with. So there you go. And then I might as well just stream it too. So
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, I think that's about wraps it up here for episode 102 of the Division Z podcast. What was your favorite part? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. My man, do you have any closing thoughts?
Just keep grinding. Keep grinding zombies until the next one comes out.
Grind. Get the grind set, right?
Yeah, grind set, exactly.
Get the grind set. Anyways, guys, that's about it. Thank you everybody again for watching. If you did enjoy and you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe if you're a brand new viewer, check out all the links down below in the description so you stay up to date with everything that we do. And guess we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Division Z podcast. Peace out.
Bye everyone.